is Sharana from Pay Your Weight, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Chi Season 2, Episode 4, The Showdown, okay? And I know what you guys are thinking. Beach, where have my The Chi reviews been? I'm sorry, y'all. I've been sick. Game of Thrones has been taking up all my time on Sundays, but I promise I'm going to do right by you guys. I'm going to catch up today, so I'm not behind anymore, and then we only got one more week of Game of Thrones after this, and then we Gucci. I'll have your reviews out to y'all in the AM, and I'm going to go ahead and get me some sleep. So let's go ahead and get into episode 4. So we see it starts off with Jake, Papa, and Kevin. They're basically having this discussion. Papa is upset, y'all, because he gave these fools some simple rules on what they need to do to follow to make sure that their photo day pictures are on and popping, okay? And so he already told them, y'all didn't stick to the color scheme that I gave you guys for last year, so I need to make sure that you're on top of it. So we see that he tries to offer his friends some whitening strips, and they're like, man, we don't need that. He was like, yes, you do. And so we see that it's coming increasingly more aware of Jake and what his decisions, kind of the road that has led him down to, because as they're, talking, they kind of tell him like, hey, you can't be doing that gang banging. And then you see he has the tattoo saying, I'm 63rd for life and this and that. And they just look at him like, why are you so like bent up on like trying to be a part of this gang? I just don't understand. But in the course of all of that, we see that Brandon is struggling, y'all. Okay, so Brandon has basically been working his butt off trying to prepare for this cooking competition where there's $5,000 on the line. He's trying to get his coins so he can make himself a better life, make Jericho a better life, just give everybody a better life, okay? I don't know how the hell you're going to do that with $5,000, but it's okay. We're not going to squash his dreams, okay? So we see that Brandon has been up to the wee hours in the morning. He almost burnt the house down, okay? He almost got into an accident in oncoming traffic, almost killed himself, killed everybody else because he's falling asleep at the wheel. He's just so tired because he's working during the day with the food truck and then also too trying to prepare for the competition at night. And so we see that his paths kind of cross with Emmett. Emmett. We're gonna talk about him later. But they his paths cross where he kind of gives us this opportunity that really isn't an opportunity because he's just like really trying to scheme Brandon, but we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. But I kind of do like where they're going with those two characters kind of trying to work together. But in the meantime, Jerica's kind of also having this showdown as we're kind of sticking to this episode's theme, and her showdown is with the alderman of the area. So he has an issue because Jerica's client is not offering any of the units that she has for the condominium. She's not offering any of those to low-income housing. And so, she feels as though like, I am not here to try to give any additional handouts. All they do is ruin everything that is trying to happen. They ruin the progress. They stunt the growth. I'm not doing it. And so he has an issue because he feels as though he was like, she the worst type. She worse than the white folks. And I was like, ooh, like you're real serious about this. And so his issue is because when you continuously buy these buildings up, kick people out, you're pushing out the people of the community, you're pushing out the poor people, trying to bring in rich people, and then those rich black families that Jerica said that she's trying to bring into this building, they become the rich white folks, and then they're just basically gentrifying the entire neighborhood. And so it's kind of a showdown that she has with the alderman, and we'll see how that kind of progresses as he has people protesting now. She has to cancel some of the open houses, so this is causing a huge issue for Jerica and her client, and also too he messing with her coins, okay? So we saw that Emmett and Tiffany, they did what they did, okay? And so we see that afterwards Emmett is at Sunny's. I don't know what the hell he doing. He gets into it with one of the altercations with one of the other employees. He's having his own showdown with an employee because he said, I already had this day off. I don't care who you are. I just know that Sunny told me I could have the day off, and so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave. And then we see that there's a fire that breaks out, and then Emmett dumb behind. I feel as though like that's the first thing that they teach you, like don't put no water. What did he put? Did he put water? Yes. He said, don't put no water on no grease fire. And I was just like, Emmett, what are you doing? So he throws the water on the grease fire. Of course, that just makes it 10 times worse. And then Sunny's ends up being closed down. And so now Emmett does not have a job. He has nowhere to go. He goes to Tiffany to kind of tell her what has happened. They kind of agree that what happened, it was just a one-time thing. It didn't mean anything. And so he kind of asks her, hey, can you to remove the order? I'm still gonna give you money, but I don't have a job to really provide consistent income and stuff like that. So can you just remove this for me? And I promise you I'll do what I'm gonna do. And then Tim just like, sir, why are you doing all of this? Like, I'll think about it, but I don't know. And so we see that they're really still trying to work together to try to co-parent for the sake of their child. But we see that Emmett is actually causing issues at home with his father, who he's living with, because he got all these random people coming in, because he got his little weave business. He got random people coming in and out of his father's house. His father has kids. His father has a wife. And so he's just like, sir, like, you need to be paying me some rent. I don't care about what child support you got. When you're going to be up in this house, you're going to do what I tell you to do, okay? And so we see that Emmett's dad actually goes to have a conversation with his mom, Jada. And so I'm thinking, like, okay, well, I thought he was going to, like, apologize. Like, you know, after I've seen having him with me for these past 2 weeks, you know, I felt like I should have been there as a father. Like, you really held it down, Jada. I appreciate you. But do you know this Negro told her, like, hey, I need you to run me back the child support that I've been sending you because he been staying with me for 2 weeks and he eat me out of a house and home? I said, sir, the nerve, the audacity, how dare you? I was like, oh my God, you, like, Emmett is his father's child, okay? Because I just don't understand how you could really fix your mouth to really, like, because he been with you for 2 weeks. Did I have a hold on this? Oh, sorry, y'all. That if he been with you for 2 weeks, like, that automatically determines that you need to, like, give her, like, she needs to give you the money back. That just made no sense to me. That really pissed me off. It really made me upset. And then I like when she cursed him out and said, don't you ever come back to my house. And I was like, you tell him, Jada, because he was mad disrespectful. So we see that Emmett is trying to figure out how he's going to make this money, y'all. So he goes to Brandon, because they got into it before where Brandon was trying to set up his taco truck outside of Sonny's. And so he tells him, hey, I have opportunity for you. You know, of course, I'm going to, like, you know, I'm going to hook you up. You know, you can basically run your taco truck right outside of Sonny's, since people are going to be coming, because a lot of them still don't know that something's wrong with it. And so you just got to cut me a 20% finder's fee and I got you. And I was like, sir, how does that work? Because you won't be making no money regardless. And so even Brandon is just like, no, what are you talking about? Like, get out of my face, okay? So we see that Brandon decides to actually come back to Emmett and has this discussion like, hey, like, I need someone to watch this for me, but I'm not going to do that 20% finer fee because that was stupid. But what you can do, we can split this 50-50, but I need you to run the food truck as I'm trying to prepare for this competition. And so, you know, they did what it made it do, okay? They got it together. Even though when he came back, he saw that he was, like, selling weave out of there, and he was just like, sir, why are you, like, isn't this a health hazard? Like, you can have people hair in the food. I just don't understand what Emmett be thinking. It'd be good ideas, but he just, like, the way that he goes about doing stuff, it's just not right. But they kind of work out a partnership. They got something good going, so I guess he don't let him sell the hair out of his food truck. I don't know. I'm choking, y'all. My bad. Let me check my notes. So, in the meantime, to the police officers who are trying to investigate what has happened to Miss Ethel. So Detective Toussaint is basically going after Reggie because she thinks that Reggie has something to do with what has happened, the 63rd Street mob. She thinks that if this happened on their territory, then obviously he must have something to do with it, or he at least knows who did it. So she basically goes and arrests one of his lieutenants. I'm sorry, y'all. She goes and arrests one of his lieutenants who's basically gets in Reggie's face to introduce. She's like, allow me to reintroduce myself. Well, not reintroduce, but introduce, because it's the first time that they're meeting. So she decided to basically introduce herself, let him know, I know who you are, and this is not going to be the first, the second, the third, the last, the 100th time that you see me, because I'm going to figure out what happened and what your connection was to Miss Ethel. And so we see that Reggie ends up trying to send in some little kid to basically take the rap for his lieutenant, even though his lieutenant had nothing to do with what happened as well. And so this only angers Detective Toussaint even more. She lets the little boy go home, and she has to figure out how she's going to take care of Reggie. So I did appreciate that Reggie's been getting on him, even though it's not for the good reasons, but that Reggie really gets on Jacob about making sure that he's in school, that he's getting his education. Like when he tells him, like, hey, make sure you go to picture day. Make sure that you're going to school so you can know the difference between, like, you know, how old you are and, like, how tall you, whatever he was trying to ask that boy, because that boy didn't know what the hell he was talking about. I was like, this poor child, like, you need to be in school, sir. So I really did appreciate it, even though it's not coming from the right place, because he's just trying to make sure that they not knocking on his door no more, causing any issues with what he has going on. But I do appreciate that he still be reminding him every chance that he gets that he needs to stay his little behind in school. So we see that Ronnie is out of jail. And so Ronnie just walking around town like, hey, y'all. And I'm just like, sir, like, you murdered a 16-year-old. Like, why do you think this is okay? So when Miss Ethel wakes up, she sees Ronnie. She's excited. And then we see that Jada comes to check on Miss Ethel, who she's been taking care of her for quite some time. And so we see that Ronnie, like, thanks her for everything she's done. And Jada's just like, look, sir, like, you killed someone who's not too much younger than who my child is. Like, she thinks the world of you. That's great. But, like, I still have an issue with all of this right now, but you need to make sure that you do right by Miss Ethel. And so we see that he goes back to the house to kind of clean everything up, because Jada tells him, like, hey, I haven't had time to, like, go clean up her house. He's like, okay, I got it. As he's cleaning, he runs into some Fireball that was under the sink. I think he was going to drink it, but then he didn't drink it. And then we see that he kind of goes to Tracy to have a conversation with her. Tracy looks like she has not been handling her son's death very well since we last saw her. She's talking about how being in the group actually made things worse because it made her miss him even more. And so we see that he's kind of having this discussion with her. He helps clean the house, and then, you know, he encourages her to go see Jason's child because the baby was born. As we know, when Jason was shot and killed, he was actually had a baby on the way. And so we see that she actually went to go see the baby with Ronnie. Like, he helps her, like, work through all of that. And the baby seems to be doing well. Mom seems to be doing well. And so I really like that Ronnie made sure that he was there to help take care of Tracy. And kind of her showdown is really trying to, like, her showdown is against herself and trying to pick up the pieces and kind of try to move forward with life after the death of her child. I'm sorry, I gotta choke between all of this. So I'm trying to make sure that I got everything. I know that there's more that I have to get to as far as what happens with Kevin and his dad. I just want to make sure that I finish everything out. Oh, Brandon doing the competition, y'all. And so everything going good, and then this fool forget the damn plates. He forgot the plates. I said, sir, you've been working your whole life for this. You forgot the damn plates. How does that work? Called Jerica. Jerica's like, I'm busy. She did have a lot going on. At first I looked at her sideways, and I was like, she got her own stuff going on, and you should have remembered this. It's plates. So he comes up with this story about how cooking helped him and how it relates to Coogie and things like that. And I love that because he finally found his story that he needed to tell with his food, which was the conversation that he was having with the Nigerian woman who owned her own restaurant and didn't give him the job. And so I thought that was pretty cool. We see that he got into the next round. I said, okay, Brandon, I see you, Brandon. But we got to end on the note with the kids. So picture day comes, y'all. Oh, Papa, don't kill him. Don't hurt him, Papa. He was looking so good, okay? Walking down looking like a little baby Notorious B.I.G. I said, I see you, Papa. You better go ahead and represent Papa. Yes. Here for every moment of it, okay? So they, like, I was just like, he just touches my soul so much. He just makes me so happy. Jake looking like somebody, like, little school teacher. I don't know what Reggie put him in, but he was like, we're not going to have any problems out of you. And so we see that Kevin's sister, Keisha, basically had to help him get his life together. And then she also told him that his dad was going to be coming to town. And we see that Kevin has an estranged relationship with his father. So we really don't know if he's going to necessarily go visit him, yes or no. But in the meantime, at school, the kids end up getting into a food fight because Jake is always getting into it with somebody. And so we see that when they're caught by the teacher, that basically Kevin takes the rap for Jake because he's never been in trouble. Kind of like mirroring the same situation of why Reggie had the young boy take up for his lieutenant because he knew that he would only get a slap on the wrist for his first offense. And the same as Kevin. Kevin only gets a warning because Kevin never gets in trouble. But we see this whole thing with Kevin and Maisha, like, they is getting closer and closer to them getting together, and I'm so here for it. So we saw earlier, because Kevin's been bringing Maisha her homework because she's taking care of her siblings. I thought it was so cute when he told her, like, girl, just put some cocoa butter on it and your hair look cute just the way it is. I was like, this is so freaking cute. And so we see that they doing little pictures. The little photographer is disrespectful as hell, acting like them people do at the DMV up here in Atlanta, because I got the most raggedy driver's license picture, because they don't be telling you. They be like, 1, 2, click. Ma'am, when was you gonna tell me that you was taking a picture? Like, can I get a redo? No. That's basically what was happening to the little kids. But my girl Maisha, she came in and she was showing down, okay, looking all good. Even Kevin looked like, hey girl. That ain't what he said to her, but he was staring at her. But in the midst of all of this, we see that they have the pizza party, because the teacher told them that they got their lives together. Even though they really didn't get their lives together, they were getting a pizza party. But we see that Dadu, or whoever the little fine ass villain is of the season, he's so sexy. And Ronnie's sexy too. I don't know why, like, he's such a bad person, but like, oh, he could get it. He had the little sweatpants on. I said, okay, Rodney, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. So we see that he's providing them pizza, and so we see that he owns a pizza shop. So I need to learn more about this character, learn more about him, what's going on, what is he doing. But he's so fine, zaddy, that I don't want him to go anywhere yet, but I'm interested about his character. But we see as Kevin comes home, he sees that his sister's crying. He's like, what's wrong? And we see she tells him that their dad died. So it's pretty much how the episode ends. Overall, I actually enjoyed this episode. I like how everyone's lives are kind of becoming more intertwined with one another, as we kind of see the connections of the 63rd Street mob, as I thought there was a connection to everything that was happening, as we're getting to learn more about our villain, our main villain of the season. Where does he come from? You know, kind of what is his role in the 63rd Street mob? How deep does this go? How is this going to affect the relationships between Detective Cruz and Detective Toussaint as they kind of try to work together and figure out what is happening. So I'm really loving this episode. I love how they're kind of setting up all of these different character storylines, how it's going to end up eventually coming to a head and blowing up. But overall, I thought it was a cool episode. So those are my thoughts on The Chi Season 2, Episode 4, Showdown. As always, my name is Sharonda from Pay Your Weights. And if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. I'll see you soon.